Welcome to lecture series on foundation of mathematics. We are discussing first chapter, that is statements and logic. Under this chapter today we will be discussing the section named as proofs in mathematics, in which we will see the formal way of producing proof of any mathematical statement. So, let us discuss the topic. Usually in mathematics there are two kinds of statements we come across. First one is of this form: for all x in x, x has a property p, and second one, there exists x in x such that x has a property p. So, while proving the statement we need to deal with these two kind of statements. Okay. Now, we will discuss first what kind of often possibilities for this property p can have. So, in one, quite often p is of the form if q then r. So, property itself is of the form implication most of the time, and if it is in that form, then again we can convert it using set of context as we had mentioned in the previous video. So, we have something like this: for all x in x, if x has a property q, then x has a property r. So, I can write it as for all x in this set of context, that is a set of all x, okay, with the property that all y in x with the property that y has property q, then y has property r. So, we can write it in this way, and so this is the final way of producing. This would be the set of context. You can see that it is a subset of x. Here this y actually belongs to x, I missed that term, but anyway it is understood that this is a subset of x and this is a property. So, this becomes a set of context and this becomes a property for that universal, the statements involving universal quantifier. So, let us see one example for that kind of statement: all students in our college who are tall are smart. So, this is an implication statement. What does it say? Is that given any student in this college, if he is tall, then he is smart. So, how would we write this? So, first thing we need to identify the set X. It is a set of student in the college. Q and R are the two properties, first one being tall and the second one being smart. So, the same statement can be written in this form: for all x in x, if x has q, that is if x is tall, then x is smart. And so, I can define a set of context, set of all student in the college such that they are tall. So, I am choosing only those students who are tall, who have the property q, and so I can write down the above statement as for all x in x, x has r. Okay. Now, most often again we come across this kind of statement also: there is no x in x which satisfy property p. There is no x in x which satisfy property p. Take a note that this is not a statement with existential quantifier. In fact, this is a statement with the universal quantifier. We can write down what does the statement convey is that given any x in x, x will never satisfy p, x will never have property p. So, that same as saying for all x in x, x do not have property p. Okay. Now, through this example we would try to develop we will try to develop the proof for a statement of the form for all x in x, x has a property p. We would discuss the method. Let us start with an illustrative example. Suppose x is equal to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see that there are only 5 elements in this set, and I want to prove that for all x in x, x has a prime divisor. So, what I need to show is that every element in this set x, it has a prime divisors. Okay. So, now in this context I am discussing the proof for the statement for all x in x, x has a property p. How can we prove it? Now, for this x, you can just demonstrate, you can just pick up all the elements from this x and see whether it has a prime divisor or not. That is very easy to do. But if I change this x to a Vuj set, say for example, it has 100 element, can I use the same strategy to prove that x has a every element of x has a prime divisor? That is not possible, right. So, for example, you have this, if x is equal to m in z such that m is greater than or equal to 2, the same strategy will not work because x is a large set. Okay. In fact, it is an unending infinitely the set having infinitely many elements. So, that process will never end, and so this method will not work, like demonstrating the property for each and every element, that will not work. So, for that what we do is that we just take an arbitrary element from that set x having the property what is mentioned in the set x, and we will prove that property is true for this x. So, that is the strategy. Okay. So, in general, when the set x is large, the usual way of proving the statement is for all x in x, x has a property p, is to assume x to be an arbitrary element in x and then to argue that x has a property p. So, if you prove for any arbitrary element from x, that means you are proving for every element in x, no need to verify for every element in x. Here is an example for all x in 0 comma 1. 0 comma 1 is an open interval and it has infinitely, it is in fact an uncountable set, it has infinitely many elements. So, obviously, I cannot verify this property x square less than x for every element of 0 comma 1. Okay. So, what I will do, I will choose an element, let x belongs to 0 comma 1. So, we have thus we use the definition of this set, whenever x is in this open interval, we have this. Okay. Now, that is x is greater than 0 and x is less than 1. So, since x is less than 1, I can multiply x both the side. So, that will give me x square less than x s, and it will not change the sign as x is positive. So, we have proved this for any arbitrary. So, this I am saying as any arbitrary element. So, therefore, I have proved thus I can say that x square is less than x for all x in 0 comma 1. So, it is enough to prove for one arbitrary element and the statement holds. Okay. Next we will deal with the statement of the form there exists x in x such that x has a property p. When you have a statement of the form there exists, it is your choice, you need to produce an element in x so that it has a property p. Okay. Either you need to produce it or you need to construct it. So, identify x satisfying property p, give a valid argument in support of existence of such an x. Okay. Okay. Look at this example, there exists p in z such that for every q belongs to z, p plus q is equal to q. So, so this is true for all q belongs to z, this is this property satisfied. So, can you give one p in z such that this is true? This is in fact the existence of additive identity. So, you just take p to be equal to 0 and you are done. Okay. Here for every x in R plus, that is set of all non-negative real numbers, there exists y in R such that 0 less than y less than x. Okay. First we have for all. So, what I will do, I will start with let x belongs to R plus. Okay. That is the definition of R plus is same as saying x is a non-negative integer, x is strictly greater than 0. Okay. Okay. Then I need to produce a y in R such that this property holds. So, how would you produce this y? This y, because it is a statement of the form for all x in R plus there exists y. So, that existence of y may or may not depend on x. So, you may choose an element, you have to choose an element y which is less than x. So, what I will do, given this x, let me take y to be equal to x by 2. Okay. Now, you know that 0 is less than x by 2, why? Because x is greater than 0. So, this is also true, which is less than x, that is 0 is less than y less than x. So, this is how you have to prove this kind of statement. Okay. Now, the question is, how do we prove implications? Proving implications, there are 3 different ways. So, we will discuss those different ways in this section. Okay. So, to prove S implies T, assume S and use logical reasoning and mathematical facts to prove T. This is called as direct way of proving. So, if S implies T and T implies R, a true statement, then S implies R is also true. Okay. So, this is the law of transitivity. You know that S implies T and T implies R, then S implies R. Square of an even number is divisible by 4. So, what does it says that for all m in Z, if m is even, then m square is divisible by 4. So, I will start with any m in Z, m with the property that it is even. So, I will start with let m be an even integer. What I have to show is that m square is divisible by 4. So, if I can go from S to T directly, it is called as direct way of producing the proof. So, since m is even, I use the definition of even integer. There exists k in Z such that m is equal to 2k, and so m square is equal to 4k square, and that says that 4 divides m square. So, therefore, m square is divisible by 4. Now, if I want to prove that certain statements are equivalent, say I want to show that S1, S2, S3, S4 are equivalent. The usual way of proving this is, you start from S1, you go to S2, and from S2 you prove that implies S3, S3 implies S4, and you later prove that S4 implies S1. So, this is the cyclic way of proving that all 4 statements are equivalent. There are some other ways also, like you can prove S1 implies S2 and S2 implies S1, then S2 implies S3 and S3 implies S2, in that way, and then S3 implies S1, S4 implies, and then you prove that S4 implies S1. Okay. So, but this is the more convenient way, proving it, using as a cycle. Here is an example for a set A comma B comma C, the following are equivalent, that is A is a subset of B is same as saying A intersection B is equal to A, which is same as saying A union B is equal to B. I will not produce a proof for this, you can try out, but what you will have to do is that first you will have to assume that A is a subset of B, and then you have to prove that A intersection B is equal to A. Okay, and once you prove that, in the next line you will have to assume that A intersection B is equal to A and prove that A union B is equal to B, and at the end you have to show that A union, you assume that this is true and prove that A is a subset of B. Okay. Now, again in implication, most often we have this kind of statement also, if S then T or R, or either T or R. Okay. Now, if you observe this statement, then this is same as writing S and not T then R, okay, or S and not R then T. So, S, and if you assume that one of this is not true, then the other one have to be true, that is what this statement says. Okay. So, that is the equivalent statement, and we use this to produce a direct proof for this kind of statement. You have an example, very simple example for x comma y in R. If x y is equal to 0, then you see that this is a disjunction, x is equal to 0 or y is equal to 0, sorry, conjunction. I don't know, but it's connected by the word or, so some connective is there. So how would we prove this? So what I'll do is that I'll assume that xy is equal to 0 and one of them is non-zero. So in that case, if I want to say that this statement is true, the other one have to be true. So if I assume that x is non-zero, then I have to prove that y is equal to 0. So that's in this way. So that's what I do. Suppose xy is equal to 0, and if x is equal to 0, we are done, nothing to prove. So I'll assume that x is not equal to 0, and I'll prove that y is equal to 0. So if x is non-zero, 1 by x exists in R, and so y can be written as xy into 1 by x. So that same as xy is equal to 0 into some real number which is equal to 0, and that proves that y is equal to 0. So that's how the proof goes. Okay, now there are two other ways of proving the implication statement. That's categorized as an indirect proof. So now what are those two ways? The first one is proof using contrapositive. You know, the contrapositive and the statement are equivalent, so we can use that fact. And the other one is proof using contradiction. So first let us understand what is proof using contrapositive. So we know that if S then T and if not T then not S are equivalent. So we can use this fact. Sometime going from the point S to T, it's quite difficult, and we can in fact move from not T to not S. Okay, so here is one example. Just look at this. For n in Z, if n cube minus 1 is even, then n is odd. So this is equivalent to saying that if n is not odd, that is n is even, then n cube minus 1 is odd. So you can also prove this statement is same as this statement because they are equivalent. So because from here to here, from n cube minus 1 is even to prove that n is odd, it's quite difficult. So I'll try the other way around. I'll say that if n is even, is n cube minus 1 is odd. So that's what I need to check. So suppose n is even, then I have this, n is equal to 2k for some integer k. I'll prove that n cube minus 1 is odd. Okay. So thus n cube minus 1, now it is very easy to compute. It is going to be 2k the whole cube minus 1, that same as 8 cube minus 1, and so that same as I can write down this as 2 into some 4k cube, which is going to be integer minus 1, which is equal to, which is odd. Okay, from the definition of odd number, and therefore n cube minus 1 is odd. So what I have proved is that if n is odd even, then n cube minus 1 is odd, and that's equivalent to saying that if n cube minus 1 is even, then n is odd. Now proof by contradiction. So as I said, okay, again I am discussing the implication only. How do we prove the statement of the form if S then T? So the last method is proof by contradiction. Suppose I want to prove that the statement S is true. Assume that not S is true. Okay. Suppose I want to show that, that this is like the implication part. So I'll assume that not S is true, and then using some logical reasoning and properties of the statement assumed, arrive at a statement which is false mathematically or under the given context, or it is false under the given context. Okay. So we at the end we arrive to some observed result which contradicts the statement, and what from there what we can see is that our assumption that not S is true is wrong, and therefore S have to be true. We would demonstrate through this example, a very common example. Root 2 is irrational. This is what I need to show. Okay, root 2 is irrational. Again, this is a simple statement. This proof by contradiction also can be used for this kind of statement also. So what I'll assume is that I'll say that root 2 is irrational, is not true. So that same as saying root 2 is rational. So I'm assuming, I'm challenging the statement. So let's see whether we get some certain observed result at the end. So root 2 is rational, that means it can be put in this form a by b. For some a comma b in Z, b is not equal to 0, and we take GCD of a comma b to be equal to 1, because if it is not equal to 1, then again there will be certain common factor which can be cancelled out. So, I will take that a and b in such a way that there is no common factor in them, and so we can write down from here that a is equal to b into root 2. When I square it out, I get a square is equal to 2b square, and so if you know the fact, this is from the fact okay. So, this says that a square is even, because b square is an integer, and it is a square is nothing but twice into some integer. So, therefore, a square is even. Now, this is an elementary fact that if a square is even, then that integer have to be even. So, this should implies that a is even. So, a is equal to 2k for some integer k, and from the relation that we have, a square is equal to 2b square, 2b square have to be equal to 4k square, because a is equal to 2k. So, I use this expression again, and that proves that b square is equal to 2a square, and so b is even. In fact, you can say that if b is even, because b square is even, so you can say that a and b have a common factor which contradicts to what we have assumed, and therefore, by contradiction we say that root 2 is rational is not possible, and therefore, root 2 is irrational. So, proof by induction, we are not going to get into detail over here, because we will be discussing this as one separate chapter. So, this is used whenever we have a property of this form. For all k in S, k has a property p with the set of indexed S as a subset of integers k in Z, k is greater than or equal to m for some m. So, method of induction is a standard way of proving such statement. So, whenever we have a set of context in terms of as a subset of integers or as a subset of a natural number, we use the method of induction to prove such kind of statements. Okay. At the end we will discuss counter examples. So, when do we require a counter example? Say for example, if I have this statement S for all x in x, x has a property p. So, negation of this statement is there exists x in x such that x does not have a property p. So, if I want to show that this statement is false, or if I want to disprove the statement of the form of this form, okay, then I should be able to produce an element in x which do not have a property p. So, that is called as producing that kind of element is called as giving a counter example to say that the given statement of this form is false, okay, or to disprove. So, we have one example over here. For any x in R, x square is greater than or equal to x. So, first you should be able to guess whether the statement is true or false. You know that this is not true always, because when x is lying in 0, 1, then this inequality will not hold, right, and therefore, this is not always true. So, I will disprove this by giving choosing one particular x, okay. Do not prove it, you disprove it by giving a counter example, that is called as the counter example. So, I will take x equal to half, that will work. In fact, you can take any x which is lying in between 0 and 1. So, you will see that x square is 1 by 4, which is less than 1 by 2, that is equal to x, disproving the above statement. Okay, one more example. This is a very standard example in real analysis. If f is continuous at C, then f is differentiable at C. Okay, this is in general not true. You can produce an example which is continuous at C and not differentiable at C. A standard example of a function is f of x equal to mod of x at x equal to C. The given function is not differentiable. I would leave. So, this is a counter example to show that, to disprove this given statement. So, I would leave the proof, you have to prove it, okay. In fact, you have to justify this, you have counter example. So, you now show that it is continuous, but it is not differentiable. Yeah. Thank you for watching this video. We will be starting with the new chapter in the next session, so stay tuned for it. Thank you.